Post-traumatic stress disorder is a real mental disorder that affects millions of Americans. Yet, unless you were a victim of war or combat, it goes unnoticed and untreatable. PTSD can affect people of all ages. But what exactly is PTSD and how does one get it? Post traumatic stress disorder is developed when a person goes through or sees something traumatic that the mind is unable to process, like rape, combat, physical abuse, to include childhood abuse. People with PTSD may suffer with other mental issues, such as depression or anxiety, or have a family history of mental illness. PTSD has gotten a lot of attention in the past 10 years because of the recent wars. And for veterans, help and treatment is easier to get. And though there is no cure, there are treatment options to lessen the severity of the episode that happened. But what about those who aren't veterans, who develop PTSD caused by tragedy other than war? Where and how do they get help? I believe that the sufferers of PTSD caused by something other than war should speak out about how that trauma is affecting their everyday lives. Seek out someone they trust to talk to so they can begin to work through the pain. There are some people who would say that PTSD is not real, that people can get over it. I say people are sadly misinformed. I have lived with PTSD most of my life, brought on through childhood neglect and abuse. I was not diagnosed with it until my late 40s. Once diagnosed, they offered me several treatment options. One, which was to go back into my past and, you know, dredge out all that happened to me with the thought that, once it's out, then it can no longer affect you. Well, I tried that, and honestly, it don't work. Okay, I mean, it lifts a burden, but it doesn't stop the pain. Um, then they have a new thing called eye sensation, where they put this little kind of like what they use for when they're putting you under hypnosis, one of those type that go doop 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 doop, and you watch that. Now, during the time that you watch this, you're supposed to go back and hash out everything that's happened to you. And again, by doing this, supposedly it lessens the pain. And that also was not an option for me. What has worked for me is meditation and being able to talk about it. Um, that I find has been the best thing. I chose not to do the pills because I worked in a mental hospital at one time, and I know, what the effects are over the long run of taking those pills. And, I think if a person is going to heal completely, you have to get to the root or the core of the problem. Um, for me, having to go back in my past brought a lot of pain, but once it was done, if I felt relieved because it helped me to understand why a lot of things I couldn't complete, or why I felt at times like I didn't belong, or maybe suicidal. Sad thing is, there is no real cure for PTSD, but just know PTSD is real. And I don't know, if you're suffering, or someone who is suffering, have them reach out to somebody. Let them know what they're really going through inside so that they may begin to get the help that they need. Thank you.